Today we are going to talk about the one moment that silenced the Vatican. Not because of scandal, not because of politics, but because of something much deeper, something painfully human. It began during an ordinary papal address, birds circling above the crowd, sunlight gently resting on St. Peter's dome, the thousands gathered in quiet reverence waiting to hear the words of Pope Leo. But no one could have guessed what was about to unfold. A trembling breath, a long pause, and then, the Vicar of Christ, the Holy Father himself, looked up with watery eyes and said, "Please, pray for my little sister." Clap aboard. Welcome to TV series. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on the notification bell for more captivating and heartfelt stories. This one, you don't want to miss. There are moments in history that seem to slow time, when the world shifts on its axis just enough for hearts to feel it. This was one of those moments. Pope Leo, known for his calm demeanor and bold theological statements, let his walls fall before the world. He didn't speak like a pope that day. He spoke like a brother. A frightened brother holding on to faith like a rope dangling over a pit of uncertainty. Cancer. A word that chokes the air. A word that doesn't care who you are, where you live, or what hat you wear, even if it's white and holy. His sister, just 42 years old, had been diagnosed with late-stage lymphoma. A quiet woman, unknown to many. A woman who loved baking more than speaking, who spent her days caring for orphans in Naples, and who hated the spotlight, but suddenly became the center of a global prayer campaign. And not because she asked for it, but because he did. Can you imagine that? The Pope asking you for a favor? Not donations. Not votes. Just prayers. Let that sink in. Here is a man who millions pray to, and he turns around and asks the world to pray with him. It's humbling. It's terrifying. And somehow, it's comforting too. In a world of Instagram filters and polished speeches, Pope Leo brought something raw and unfiltered to the world stage: vulnerability. And it was beautiful. Now let's take a moment to imagine the ripple effects. After his plea, cathedrals across Europe rang their bells at noon. Monks in the mountains of Tibet, despite being of another faith, observed silent prayer. Children in South Africa lit candles and sang hymns they barely understood. Even late-night TV hosts paused for a moment of silence. One reporter said, "It's like the world exhaled together, even if for just 30 seconds. But what makes this even more gripping is the story of how he found out. He was preparing for a trip to Brazil, going over his speeches, practicing his Portuguese, which he still butchers hilariously by the way, when his personal secretary knocked on the door. A letter. Not an email. Not a call. A handwritten letter sealed in pink wax. It was from his sister. A simple note that read, "Dear Leo, I didn't want to bother you. I didn't want to distract you. But I need your prayers, and maybe a miracle." Can you feel the weight of that? A sister not wanting to distract her brother, even if he's the Pope, with her suffering. That's the kind of woman she is. And that's what made Pope Leo break protocol and break down. He canceled meetings. He sat in his chapel for hours. He wept. He prayed. And then, he spoke to us, the audience that had come expecting a blessing. Instead, we were given a burden to share. This part gets a little eerie. One of the priests present said that as Pope Leo finished his plea, a dove landed on the altar, right in front of the crucifix. It didn't move. It didn't flap. It just stood there, like it was listening. Chills, right? Another priest claimed he saw a ray of sunlight shine directly on Leo's rosary the moment he said her name. True or not, it added a layer of mystery and wonder that made people whisper, "Is this a sign?" Some started calling it a miracle in progress. And soon, the hashtags began to trend. Hashtag pray for Sister Leo. Hashtag miracle in progress. Hashtag Pope with a plea. Hashtag together in faith. Even atheists were tweeting, "I don't believe in God, but I believe in humanity. And today, I'm praying anyway." Let that settle in. What do you believe in? Have you ever been so desperate that you had no words left, only prayers, sighs, and clenched fists? Have you ever had someone you love face something terrifying, and all you could do was whisper into the silence, Please, let them be okay? Then you understand what Pope Leo feels. You understand why this story is more than a headline. It's real life. And in the middle of all this emotion, Pope Leo gave us a challenge. He didn't want just any prayer. He asked that we pray boldly, pray together, and pray consistently. He said, "If you love your neighbor, you will carry their pain as if it were your own. Today, I ask the world to carry mine." That's not just Catholic. That's universal. So what happens next? Is there a miracle? Will his sister be healed? Will she survive? We don't know. And maybe that's the most powerful part of all. Because sometimes faith isn't about getting a miracle. Sometimes faith is about still believing, even if you don't. You still with us? Because now's the part where it gets both scary and hilariously human. After his emotional plea, Pope Leo went backstage, sat down, wiped his face, and said to his secretary, "Did I cry on camera?" His secretary, trying not to laugh, nodded. Leo sighed and said, "Great. I'll be a meme by morning." And he was. But the memes weren't mocking. They were tender. Some added angel wings to the photo. Some turned his sister's words into a calligraphy quote. One even said, "When the Pope cries, heaven listens." So here we are, watching history unfold not in grand ceremonies, but in tear-streaked honesty. In shared pain. In awkward silences. In memes. In hope. Pope Leo didn't just ask for prayers. He gave the world permission to feel again. To hope again. To pray again. Folded hands. Okay, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you believe in miracles? Have you ever experienced one? Let's talk. Let's cry. Let's believe, together. Speech Balloon, please like, share, and subscribe for more. And remember, every episode we bring you the scariest, funniest, and most unforgettable moments in real life and faith. Because stories like this, they deserve to be seen. They deserve to be remembered. Until next time, may we all be just a little more like Pope Leo's sister, quiet, kind, and brave in the face of the unknown. And may we, like the Pope, learn how to ask for help when it matters most.